Ah, God, that laugh gets me every time. And hello, guys. It's time for Tuesday. And I just noticed I have, like, no light. One moment. Got it. Turning 3 lights on. Yeah. Ooh, that might be a little too bright. Hey, Google. Blue desk lamp off. Okay. Turning the blue desk lamp off. Hey, Google. Reading lamp off. That should be a little better for you guys. It's too bright, almost. But it's time we finally pick up from years past. I have been kind of excited for this one. We are picking up from where we left off before we went into hibernation or hiatus, whatever you want to call it. Right before we went off the face of the earth, we were playing Great Ace Attorney. And we finished all of episode 1, or the first game on stream. I think it's time we finally pick up and finish up where we left off. We're going to play some Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2. Well, not Chronicles, but Great Ace Attorney 2. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. On Switch. God, I really am becoming a Switch streamer. We need to change that. We gotta find games for other systems. I mean, at least we got OJ, but make sure this isn't running Violet because we were playing last night. And let's get us over to the invert. Didn't break too badly. I mean, only the camera broke, but I'm okay with that. That's the 1080 webcam, if I remember correctly. Oh wow, everything's brokey. Well, when am I not surprised that things be brokey? There we go. So, let's make sure the Elgato's not muted. Okay. And let me pull up the Elgato for me. God, I've been really waiting for this one. Come on, Elgato, show me what I'm watching. I believe it's just the autosave. You guys can definitely see it, but I can't. We'll relaunch. Worst comes to worst, I just turn on the monitoring and just play through OBS. It's not the first time we've done it. I have to, actually. I end up turning on the monitoring, which is no big deal. Monitor and output. Screen. Yes, sir. Here we go. And let's flip the pick and pick. Once again, we break camera. We'll fix that eventually. Okay. Select adventure. We were starting to, weren't we? Yes, we just started a new game. God, I'm so excited. See if I remember anything from Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 1. If not, I might be pulling up a... Slide that over. I might be pulling up a quick wiki to kind of go over ghost stuff. I do remember that she returned home. Like, that doesn't surprise me.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
Find myself faced with another awful crime. Stop getting involved in the crimes, damn it! She looks familiar.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
I'm sorry, you're gonna be the lawyer? Wait.
So please, I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
Oh my god, I forgot about Kazuma. Oh man, everything's rushing back to me all at once. Episode 1. The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. God, this game's so fun. That's one other thing I need to look at before we get too carried away, because they're probably... No. Don't transition me. I want to be studio mode. Need to check one thing. I need to move. I gotta make sure one thing is not in the way. It's not terrible. Let's just progress a little bit. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay. We'll leave it as is. I am gonna throw us to full screen for like some of these scenes, so like having full screen and the avatar ready, it kind of has to be ready. That's what I get for having stuff run late on me, and we still get to start on time. Mikotoba! Ah, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. Got a fine figure, counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing any favors either. Oh dear. Truth is, I'm incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. Give Elgato Game Capture one more shot here. Really does not want to launch. Yeah, you be brokey. The only way I'm gonna do is this. Come on. Detect, please. There we go. Now, let's see if I can get mine. There we go. Now, let me turn off monitoring. Okay, much better. I almost wish I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Ah, yes. Eugene Mikotoba, professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University, man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science, and of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Would I be correct in thinking you're my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes, that's right, miss. Oh, Susato, don't botch it up this early. Well, I thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing. Where's that sound familiar? Ray Membami, born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father. Sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. I'm actually gonna throw us over the full screen for a little bit. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, you have to become a little flushed. Oh, yes, well, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, that makes me feel rather bashful. Let me see the... No, not yet. We can't see the court record yet. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It takes a little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. This makes me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. The father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, right? It's just that... No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? The varsity uniform, the varsity cap, the varsity cape, the varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world a male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. Woke up 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, see, it was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women, and not even allowed to step foot inside the courtroom, despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato. Ghost history button. So I can act as your lawyer, Susato. You go to such lengths for me. Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that you shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Right. So strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already, and yet, just because you're a woman. What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray, please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and dotting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just... really do look so dashing. Yes, you've mentioned that once or twice. Whoa, you should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased. I think it certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face and all this, but I can see through it. Notice how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end of this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Well, we got good friends. That's what it means to be a defense lawyer. Yay! That means so much to me, Susan. Defendant, counsel, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. Oops, that was the wrong button. Not the end of the world. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Guilty? Oh. Stand aside. I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, you're certainly surprised your father, and such things to be admitted to the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. There's simply no other way. That's all there is to it. Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right into assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this. Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. The only where she found that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. Oh no! She really has been set up then. One burner on that, and is that true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? You should be making a move now too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. I'm Susato, judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. Yeah, that's right. How many times have I wished that he were here? I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Shmila, Naruhodo-san. Who are we, like, being? Because 8th of August, 9 o'clock. Supreme Court of Courtroom 1. Oh, we're against him. The court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membami. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Oh, ouchie. You good there, girl? Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Ready? Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is Ryutaru Naruhodo. Could you have not thought of any other name? Yes, I had to come up with a more suitable male name for you for this little venture. I'm afraid to say so. The first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaru. Great Naruhodo clan. Yeah. See, it seems Ryutaru may need to consider how better to upload his manly act first and not overdo it. Those wide eyes aren't doing any favors, either just relax and listen. Odo? Good thing the judge is just kind of dumb, am I right? I mean, you're not wrong. But then again, you've got Ouchie here, who's, not very bright either. Yeah, fresh face. But the name Naruhodo, that perchance be... You maybe think of Rinosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain, part of the study program. This is his cousin. Hey cousin, let's go bowling. Also very dumb. Yeah, I agree. That's right, Ryutaru has been studying in the provinces. He's called to the great capital for this trial. I assure you, in the matters of the law, his knowledge rivals any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them. What a pitiful situation. He am rejected by every lawyer in the capital. The accused is calling a country boy. How dare you? Ray, who's Susato? And her. You idiot. Her. You're gonna get us blown out of cover, Ray. Everybody's dumb. Yes, thank you. What an unrefined tomboy we have here, but I wonder. Is your gallant and dashing lawyer up there ready to challenge at defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest he is not. So nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand how the sun goes through. Like it or not, eyes won't to flit. Whatever that means. Case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume the outcome of this trial may very well affect the very future of our empire. That's not, very concerning. Just like that trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you're sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruto stood where you were standing now. The same judge tested him as well. Even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Yes. Ah, yes, the slaps are back. Yes, Your Excellency. Please do make them simple. Very well. To start with, we will state the name of the victim. What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else ManintehHat goes through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank. Surprising. This is your first time in this position and in that guise. Bright spark is bound to flicker and falter under a little under the circumstances. Oh dear. Don't fret. You only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial problem. Of course, the court record, which I haven't been able to check this whole time. R. And R. There we go. Now we have court record. People. It is Jezebel Brett. I remember her. She was found guilty of murdering the visiting professor, Dr. John Wilson. Everything's coming back to me. I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim? Is Jezebel Brett?
Yes!
I love the hand raise. It's back, just like he did. Miss Jezebel Brett. Hi, ouchie. Jezebel Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of the Empire's Judiciary, you will be aware well of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name associated with our own Empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten the name from that case 9 months ago. That's right. And the court record. She's found visiting John Wilson. Obviously, so I remember. It's the start of everything. And the woman was a killer!
Yes!
I love the sound effects. She was visiting Professor of Medicine in the unit who was killed. And the culprit was Jezebel Brett. Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. And I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikutova. Yes, I was indebted to the man who has been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. Ah, so we have another secret trial. A student in Imperial University was arrested on suspicion of murder. Second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Jezeel Barrett. Barrett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory action before the trial reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be moved to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled only upon last week. All that remained of our empire's obligation was to see the woman safely aboard the steamship. And yet, the very day before her departure, the English woman was killed. The day before. I mean, that's just after 2 p.m. One of the victims along from a knife blade. Okay. Yeah, will do. I'm satisfied with the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Doesn't really say anything else. Okay. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle. Now, summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie. As you wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th August in broad daylight, 2 days ago. God, this is a fast crime, but then again, this is Ace Attorney. On the outskirts of the Imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung, injury which proved fatal. There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett, in her bathing attire, and the accused, Ray Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt that the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. Police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. Ah, yes, the good old open and shut because there was nobody else to kill them. Where have I heard this song and dance before? Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. It's certainly true, the prosecution summary. It's full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. I really have to pick the prosecution counsel what he said about. As much as I'd love to do a powerful motive, it's definitely wrong. Bathing spot was perfectly spot on. I think there could have been a 3rd person. I mean, great. Naruto-san, thank you. I'm really starting to wish you'd meet my Ryotaro Suzato. You said the correct exactly where you were present at the bathing spot. Why you were alone with her? No, that's not true. Not that at all. Wait. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. Okay. I was just asking to come in as a companion, that's all. let's be clear. The moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. Truth is, there's only one reason why the young woman accompanies Brett on her bathing sojourn. The accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No. Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. The accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. I only refrain from conjecture, counsel. Prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that, but for now at least we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him go, Jim. Oh dear, this really is terrifying. Father's right. We need more information. The lawyer really ought to pick up the prosecution we said about. Powerful motive. She was a companion. This is wrong. Tut tut tut. Pardon? No matter. Let's put this to the accused, shall we? Miss-san, are you a research assistant at the Imperial Yunbei University, I believe? Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that the defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work, Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, I was studying under John H. Wilson. Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago? Yeah, we let him go, Dust. Go figure. The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him. She felt a hatred, but she died a powerful hatred. You idiot! Careful what you're saying, Ray. Motive was revenge, plain and simple, Your Excellency. Well, let's trap all on how can use Ray's unlying respect to mentor like arrogance. Bathing spot? May Professor Ochi. What do you want for a fresh-faced young local student? I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot? Ah, my apologies. Clearly, my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, it's not what I meant. According to that, Miss Brett had all the intents and purposes, has been found guilty of murder. Why would you know a criminal who had been relaxing by the sea? Yeah, that went over my head. For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry. Miss Brett was to depart from Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy puts extreme pressure on our government to comply. On what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal. Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it's decided that the dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. In fact, a murder took place. And don't look at me. It was the young girl who did it, not I. No one has proved that yet. Wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration by continuing her research along at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. Seeing the murderer of the mentor from whom she had great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty. Yes, even if it was only temporary, until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Oh boy. Somebody put the tea on. that's fixed. Poor Bray. So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind to pursue this exhibit, photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. We have pictures this old? Thanks, thank you, Council. Tragic image. See, there's nowhere within the hut anyone could have hidden. Why not outside? There's a big gaping hole in the back. Photograph the crime has been entered into the court record. You understand it then? Yes, the defendant were alone inside the beach hut. It's deeply troubling, I must say. Finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant. Well, Your Excellency. Actually, the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. Witnesses? But who? For starters, I might add, is highly respected police detective. Yeah. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Yes, let's bring said detective that was on duty. Very well then, Counsel. Bring forth your witnesses. I, Takeshi Uchi, have been waiting for this moment. Sorry? Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial ends must go here in the very courtroom. When the irrelevant little student boy utterly humiliated me. So don't be humiliated again. You're gonna say Naruto. Yes. This insult to the Uchi family name will never be forgotten. You've been conceited with age, Council, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. Oh, Kazuma. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. His fob. Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of the cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. Start of your own mini Meiji revolution? Are you modernizing as well, Council? Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the ouchie growth. You see, this seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown. I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where exactly is the hope? Oh God! I said silence! Today I face another Yoko student of the Naruto clan. Well, I will vanquish you! And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witness to the stand. Looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. Prosecution and defense has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. I don't know about that one, boss. Oh, the spy and witnesses. Please state your name and occupations for the court. Chief Inspector Satoru Hasunaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. And Sosuke! I remember you. You were a victim on here before as well. I am, well, the next big thing of books. An author renowned through the capital, in fact, yes. Soon to be sold out. The sacrificial I Am a Cat. The sensational success by Sosuke Natsume. Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me. I needn't? It's only natural you'd feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Sosuke even. Yes? What on earth is Sosuke-san doing here? I agree. Very carefully, Susanoo. The author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. Yes, of course, I know. I presume Sosuke-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although Though he does have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that's been since I last saw him. And for Inspector Hasanaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. I love the turtle on top. There's something on my face? No, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Goodness, he hasn't recognized me either. Ah, I suppose it's disguise, isn't it? I thought the appearing here in clothes I was wearing at the time would make more faithful testimony. It's my guiding principle to carry out all the testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such being at the scene, Sosuke-san? Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. Yume University. After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. Professor over there, in fact. Professor Mikoba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about 2 former students who had studied in Great Britain. Well, of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. The secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and the scooper my privacy. Huh. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. You practically threw the paper at me. I want to read the article now. Anyway, following my interview with the professor. So, it's just a picture for our sakes. There's a cat. Looks like the picture glass is cracked a bit. He's holding his fan. Got a cat. I don't think that's a knife, is it? Oh, we'll come back to it as needed. Crime scene. Yeah. I already know what the crime scene photo's for, but I have no idea what the rest is. The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go to everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance, and that response was permit first met to go along as a detective accompanies her. That detective, I am at liberty to divulge, Chief Inspector Satoru Hasunaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so... Here it comes. I beg to differ if you don't see the blood coming from your mouth. Why, Inspector, you do have something on your face now. How unsightly. I do apologize. And you went to the beach too, Philip? Oh no. Fortunately, I had to finish work to finish. Fortunately, of course. Meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course. Being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But only if I had. I had never seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Yeah, write that down, bud. Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Yes, cough up more blood. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. Go figure. Witness testimony. The witness scene. Day of the incident. I should just autoplay this. Friends with Simon in this disguise. Just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a Crater wall behind me. I ran into the beach hut at once when I found the pair in question. Yes, 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 that young girl was destroyed the Englishman, the dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade, proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. Indeed. It does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. Phrase did I use again? Ah, yes. It was damning evidence. What do you have there, Counsel? It's the so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would possibly identify her killer. Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more. Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is grasping quite something deliberately in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. If you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Membami. The initials of the defendant. Ah. No! Obviously, we give up at the first piece of evidence. Fountain pen can be immediately is critical evidence. So, have I admitted anything? Most likely. Hey, have they been updated in our people? They have. Alright. Chief Inspector, or murder, former visiting student. Got luck with the law. He's now a successful author and witness. Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather for the described guilt, I feel. Yes, just pass out on the desk, Ryotaro. And none of this man's poise. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. That's right, we get to poke holes! Ryotaro, are you gonna get your head off the desk, please? Naruhodo-san! Naruhodo. Yes, me. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Hey, actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. President Ryotaro, pull your ticket, please. Alright, I've seen countless times as judicial assistants finding consistency in the witness testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. Let's see what I can do. I love these two witness cross-examinations. They're really fun when like one of them reacts to what the other says. Alright. That is irrelevant, no need to press. Just managed to catch a crab, so
Hold it!
Press here. Describing the victim's scream, presumably, Sasuke-san? In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could pierce the heavens. Kya! Or like... of course, that's just a metaphor. With renowned operas, we aren't wont to be describing things so. It wasn't at all like this in England. Anyway, I spun around the noise at the beach hut and immediately fell under my gaze. It's the beach hut. Areas popular government ministers, many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. But I thought we had to clear the beach. The beach is a simple structure erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun. Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant it was forced to change into a swimmer on the sand. I imagine it was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut at a run. Or, in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off hutwise. God. Each other's hair in question. That's fine. Goes through the dagger. Wait. I don't see no dagger in hand. I'm gonna press this.
Hold it!
Just because I'm making sure widely you actually saw her do it. Oh, indeed. The terrible spectre, the terrible inspector, the bloody torrent, the author's torment. Eek. Every sight, every sound is still caved in my melancholy. That was my impression, at least. Future literary sensation. Counsel, what on earth is this shrill, effeminate scream? No, what are you insinuating? Yes. I wonder if it might interject here, so something you said is troubling me. That was my impression. Were your words just now, I believe. Ooh, we pressed the right statement. So, do you mean to say you're not confident that you really did see what you've described? No, I mean, yes. I mean, I know what I saw. My ears didn't deceive me when I heard the scream, hence my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe it so vividly. I could push it in tomorrow's newspaper serial. You're not convincing anybody, Sosuke. Sounds as the next installment of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn. This is the fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become. How awkward. I think we do have to present it here. That young girl was astride the English with a dagger in hand. To me, that feels like... I don't even see a dagger in this shot. That's the pen. Oh wait, single wound. So it's actually his, and I did not mean to overshoot. Goodness, my dear. You must try to calm down. But how am I supposed to find any inconsistency with this gentlemen are saying? See why I then would have any reason to lie. But I must remember, I think is that witness may inadvertently lie at times, for various reasons, a misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, delusion, even. Delusion. Yeah, it's the last statement with the death evidence. Yep. I know. It's the last statement. Oh. Thank you for the tutorial, Mikotoba. It's not our first rodeo. Maybe the inconsistencies. Isn't the evidence? I've already figured it out. I just accidentally skipped past it. And consider the details of all the evidence in the court. I'm up to the task. Yeah, that you can have witnesses repeat their statements as many times as you like. To start from the beginning, remember, so those wide eyes are quite forgivable. Besides, there's no one else to defend the poor girl. Alright, listen to this one again, please. It's the multiple stab wounds one. Shot. The blood on the blades proves when she stabbed victim multiple times. Also, a single, yeah.
Objection!
Objection? Ah, she said the thing. With that accusatory cry just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-san and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very high indeed. Well, what's the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel? like the witness to clarify something for me. Ooh. What? Where? When? How? Not you, son. Square's Director Inspector Hasanaga. Me? In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, counsel. Wow, you're unamused. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states the victim was stabbed one time only. Oh! In other words, Inspector Hasanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. Ooh. She's got a cool theme. Ah, and Sasuke-san. Me? Claim to have seen Mabani-san in the throat of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Wildly. But both of you and the inspector confirmed the same point. There was already blood on a knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and? It's quite simple. We know that murder weapon was used to stab victim only once, therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred. Ah, true. No one exactly is your contention, counsel. Are you going to tell us? The only one logical suspect that saw the moment the defendant was stabbed the victim at all. But the moment the defendant, in fact, withdrew the blade from the victim's body. Can't be. Yeah, but here's the thing. Is the withdrawing the blade still relevant? Exploded them that objective and then proceeded to pull them close. Yep. I figured it. Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempted to steal the show. You're right. There were certain similarities. Except the so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who only has half a head of hair. Slander! My head is perfectly adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing, of drawing, and multiple wounds makes not a jot of difference. Why not? Gauge your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the dead wound blood, that was the fatal blow. It was that moment she just withdrawn the blade, ready for her next strike, the witness saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Yeah, that's the exact point I was making. All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. Yeah. I feel that, Susato. I feel that. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her action to be viewed with suspicion. She was drawing the blade. We are right back where we started. Sorry? Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And why is a demon cold-blooded composure, too? Prosecution demands an explanation, and it better be good. Going for the jugular. Do I hear your answer, counsel? I know. I have to come up with a plausible reason here. We don't have a case. Good. Save her life. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury. Indeed, giving her time to take hold of this piece of evidence clearly indicates her killer. Point is, being a medical research assistant, Mabami-san was compelled to act in face of the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Thank you. You hear that, Your Excellency? This seems the best we can expect of this young yokel. Indeed. Just me, I decided the room feel much colder in here. Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion you just put forward by the Yokel Defense Council, I mean. Slipshod? An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. We'll testify again before the court. On the subject of the Defense Council's assertion. I will do so flawlessly. Oh boy. New testimony! Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That basic knowledge any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. Man, the victim murdered 9-month Dr. Wilson was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Well, that's just the low-hanging fruit. We're not even bother pressing that. What you said is true, Inspector. Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes, think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until the doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, the stopper shouldn't be removed. Let's see. This is why Yoko should stay on the farm. Even a quack or some obscure mountain knowledge provides such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given some little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. Well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see? Or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. True. Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of that. If you were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. Then, why would Ray have done it? Pulled out that knife with full knowledge would it could be fatal from his breath? I doubt it. It's spur of the moment. I don't know. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It's almost impossible to believe, but... Could my friend actually have? No! Pull yourself together. You mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Correct! He noticed. Time for your cross-examination. Yes, let's give the judge Schwarzenegger. Yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify an issue with the established facts, I will be moving to adjudication immediately afterwards. Oh boy! What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. Your client's been fighting for their cause until the bitter end. Oh boy. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. We just pressed this point. No good reason. I might have to press it, but... I don't think the photo is relevant here, at least yet. I'm gonna press here. The defendant suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground bleeding to death. Yes. Very true. Oh, inadvertently, yeah. I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she'd really believe so irrational. Misfit! Hi, Misfit. Thank you for the raid. Let's actually switch real quick. We're gonna break the camera, but as expected. As we do here, we do just break cameras left and right. There we go. How was your stream? I dropped in. I love some Star Wars, so I'm glad you dropped by. We're finishing up from where we were like 2 years ago and finishing up Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I actually just started the first episode today. So you were in, was it Knights of the Old Republic 1? I hope you were having a blast playing it. Oh, it's been 2 years. It's crazy. I don't know if it's been exactly 2 years. But it's been at least over a year since we last played Great Ace Attorney 1 on stream. Star Wars The Old Republic. Okay. Chat's not on the scene? What? What's chat not on the scene? And the border, I guess. Above the border. I have played KOTOR. I was playing the MMO one. Yeah, I know there's a bunch of like Star Wars ones based off the Old Republic. It's just I can never keep them straight. Because there's Knights of the Old Republic, there's Knights of the Old Republic 2, and then there's Star Wars The Old Republic. And they all look similar because they're all made in this by similar studios or the same studio all around the same time. It's hard to keep them straight. Yeah, they're all named similar too as well. There we go. So, Misfit, if you need to go grab a drink or do anything extra, you can go ahead. We're gonna be at it for a bit because we are in trial right now. But let's get back to the action, shall we? But irrational behavior is a women's prerogative, isn't it? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Oh god, what a time for Misfit to be walking in at. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take a hold a little too much. Well, I managed to convey the basics now. That should cover the medical side of the argument. Let's not forget the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that. There's gotta be a point we can press. Alright, when in doubt, press everything. Don't say thinking could be a problem. Okay. Be a problem. Does that mean if you use due care attention to be alright? Yeah. But yes, the blade is acceptable. We already talked about this. Do it. Thorough explanation. See, counsel. When you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath. Yeah. Okay. Back to the witness testimony, please. Yeah, it really is when in doubt, press everything.
Hold it!
Didn't I just press this one? Oh no, clearly it doesn't. What are you thinking? Hang on. You need camera for this. What are you thinking? Are you really gonna throw your best friend under the bus like this? What a friend you are, Yutaro. What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? Yeah, I saw this coming. I'm not sure that you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense. That'd be better than labeling her as a murderer. That's friendship. I don't understand it. Careful counsel. Lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing. Yeah, that recoiled on me rather badly. It's life, I'm afraid. A lesson that everyone must learn. Hopefully you can see the really basement. Gosh. Yep. I've already pressed this.
Hold it!
Whatever the motive. Yeah. Motive actually.
Objection!
You, counsel, do not know the law. Yep. Sounds like it. There's just like no point in pressing. So do I. Yeah. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the prisoner's motive, please. Yep. Sworn enemy. It didn't change anything. Behind what meiosis people can observe victims both bias.
Hold it!
Just press everything, I guess. Sure, Dr. Misan's talent was offered to a position of woman. She was grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he firmly believed in Mabami's sensibilities. The defendant wasn't in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. Find a single crack in his testimony anywhere. Gray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten his spread side further. I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Yeah. The fundamentals. And it's, yeah, so there's something we can present. Just examine it, yeah. No. I know what to do. I'm gonna ask for the refresher. Be overdoing it slightly, but very well. So open the court record for first hole with R. Yes. Let's take it to fountain pen. So examine it further. It's all the evidence. Yes, the initials RM. Very clearly engraved barrel. You're right to the pen, yeah, with the right stick. This emblem here, look, but it isn't a Yume University one. Other organization, I suppose. Business of some kind. Why the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray. Yay! Okay. But we don't have.
Objection!
Oh my god, I did not mean to present. I meant to press A. I'll take the hit. I didn't want to present the newspaper, I wanted to examine it, thank you. Okay. There seems to be an important article on the back page. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. So let me see that. Poison's been stolen. From Pimsowski saying a best saying you didn't know? It's embarrassing as this for head of the laboratory. I didn't. Not heard it. This information. Come to think about it. There's no article mentioning this story in our paper this morning, was there? Highly toxic poison reinsurance the project. She's repeating it? Written here is true. It means she tried to hide the theft from me. Or the details were leaked somehow. Oh, we have more information. Oh, yeah. Now we have like detailed examination we can do. But managed to capture these moments. Hand karate chopped me on the neck. You weren't hurt. Okay, the following lectures to deadly poison being secretly about the news. Stolen. Even the smallest amount entering the body would be a mouth. A wound from a poison-laced blade would prove fatal in minutes. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and contraction of the pupils. So she was poisoned. The new synthesis of alkaloids were pushed by the military. Where's the medic? I think the poison article is worth presenting here, actually.
Objection!
No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? The Yoko not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is a poor loser! Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here. In this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison being stolen from the laboratory. Apparently,
Objection!
Compares from a stab when the poison has no relevance in this case. Ouchie. We'll let the defense speak. But the newspaper article. The court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense. I'm going to need some tangible basis for your claim. It's the report. We would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. I believe it's deadly quantities, right? No, it's the wise being breathing contraction of pupils. It's B. So it's the third one. According to the article, the development of the poison was requisitioned by the military. Troubling revelation indeed. Oh, it's very worrying. That's not what I want. No, I want the... So... fatal in minutes. So it's tiny. It's my original point. I'm just getting ahead of myself. It's deadly in tiny quantities. Knife laced with the poison rapidly absorbed and caused death in minutes. Are you suggesting if the knife used to was laced with this very poison? Would explain that the defendant anatomy so would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. There we go. That's the point we want.
Objection!
Complete and utter nonsense. Not at all. Then it withdrew the blade. Not as extended its device, but to save her. Yeah. And the prosecution could not deny the possibility. Death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nothing in the document. That's because...
Objection!
Now, please, let's clear this person. Weasel's brass breaking and wind. The poison has nothing whatsoever to do with the defense. I believe the defense is well aware. We do. It's called the... Wow, I really was getting ahead of myself. In that situation, the student should have done away from medical assistance. Right? Instead, he claimed poisoning took a potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. Strong reason. Okay, well, Inspector. On what grounds is she Yoko? I'll give you grounds. Thank you. Possibly. Yes, I can. From your expression, Counsel, it would appear that those are not empty words. And naturally, as you stand in the you must be aware. Or so much. Yeah. Evidence! Well aware of that, Your Excellency. Many times from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. Post-mortem report. But in no section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please, do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death. Well, under normal circumstances, the pupils would dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction, it's most certainly unusual. Yes. You're doing yokel detective. Newspaper articles about the stolen poison. Onset is ending with acute constriction of pupils prior to death. The defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice the pupils in Mr.'s eyes had constricted severely. Yes, the medical student should have suspected poison immediately without doubt. There we go. We're so smart, we get ahead of the game. Gee, I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence. This, you're yokel student and yokel professor. I love him. I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions. No. Yujin Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm and deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the truth about the details reported here in the newspaper, please. Pains me that I have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. I don't know. The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Was the theft unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Ah, listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads it in the newspaper. Take full responsibility and competence of my supervision. Follow. It's a pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students rather than allowing them off on killing sprees. That's totally unfounded. You're saying hold it. It's Ray! She's on the witness stand? It's all my fault. Don't admit to guilt! Ray! Tommy, son, you stand accused here. Outbursts like that will not be tolerated. It was me. I was the one who noticed the poison were developed had been stolen that day. So you knew? Hang on, I skipped something. I had been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day the professor and Sosuke-san were interviewed together for the newspaper when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxic sample had been taken. So I decided to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. Thief? You don't mean... Yes, of course, that dainty English woman. Miss Jezeel Brett? That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach, I confronted Miss Barrett. But she just sat on the stool at the back without smiling sweetly at me as she knew she was untouchable. No, it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet. before falling to her knees in front of me and collapsing on the floor. Oh boy. That's when we saw the knife in her back. Couldn't understand what just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it. In other words, you realized the victim was suffering from the effects from the Solon poison. My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I had been with her, which left only one possible way the poison had entered her body. On the blade at the back of her neck. That train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade? Yes. If the amount had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I had hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for saying something all this time. Apologies only get you so far. Alright, ouchie. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happens is not something that can be overlooked. However, I duly noted the courage in which you've confessed in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this court.
Objection!
Oh, quit your whining. Do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, to say. Well, no, if that's the case, perhaps you can explain how Miss Breath would be stabbed. You have no answer because it's a truth. You stabbed the victim!
Objection!
Thank you. You don't prove that assertion, do you? Oh. I have evidence. It is very much conclusive. For a prosecution counsel, too. It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. Please say enforcement evidence at once, prosecutor! Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. You've brought this on yourself. What the? Being shot exists. The cruelty in the air, beach is almost palpable. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the murder's nature, for it shows the precise moment when he plunged the dagger in the back. It's when she pulled it out, thank you very much. We've already established that that's the moment she's pulling it out. Was it you who was responsible for this truth? Perhaps his voice is yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature. Come on, Ryutaro, hold together. I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Suzuto's starting to show her face here. Often said a picture's worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. Yeah, it's been entered as evidence. We examine it. Only with a magnifying glass. Okay. Can't believe she's had a photograph. Yes, he has. Stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you mean? Who took that photograph?
Objection!
Stop trying to divert attention.
Objection!
No. It's crucially important. Yeah, who took the picture? This photograph print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Yeah, Mr. Hesitant, see where it gets you. Prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once. Afraid I can't do that. Pardon? Arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. There was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the prints is unknown. Goodness. Full knowledge of the fact that this photograph is the murkiest of origins. You never once believed it to be fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed you hesitated for a brief moment because you knew it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence! You Yoko student blabbering professor! I would have got no hate for it for you young kids and your stupid dog too! What matters is the blatant truth as this print so eloquently expresses. The defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment was plunged. The moment was withdrawn. Don't waste this course of time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. Essentially captured without the most compelling evidence presented to the courts. No, it's just I believe the conclusion is clear. So, there can be no doubt. Yep. Photo shows someone withdrew the blade. Yep. Need to prove it. Determined to take the photograph. The trial's going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. Let's see. Question just took that photograph. The truth is, do we have an answer? He's an author, he's not a reporter. Must be a clue somewhere. Oh, it's the same person who took the picture. I see it in the article. Because it's got that crack here. It's in the same exact spot in this picture. Yeah, it took me a moment, but we saw it. This isn't whether or not I can come up with the answer now. I simply have to. I assure you, something that events can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly. Above the claim, please enlighten us. I am unable to present a name. How utterly unworthy. However, I am able to present evidence. Yes, it's the article on the front.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again. Chronicles, England, returnees tell all. Not the headline that's relevant here, it's the photograph. If you look at it closely, there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes indeed, I hardly caught my eye as it happens. Is it some kind of shadow, presumably like the branches of a tree or the like? There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph, good gracious. Yes, the exact same pattern of lines is present in this photograph too.
Objection!
Dun dun dun. Well, that tells us nothing. Ah, yes, the shadows of kind, definitely. The branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside the hut of the beach council. You're on your last straw too. What's quite miracle is it has two patterns that are absolutely identical. How could this shouldn't have transpired? Result of a camera defect. Due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device? Yes. We can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched. That scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear in every print taken of the device. Short, the photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. Or, in a very far-fetched way, two cameras with the same exact scratch and defect at the same exact spot, so it totally could be a different camera. There are no phones here, what am I thinking? There must be hundreds of cameras just here in the capital. The utterly impossible to identify the owner of the particular
Objection!
I think you're forgetting, Professor Ochi, that one of the photographs here in the newspaper article, that's right, is the author of that article is the mysterious witness to this crime. Thank you. About time we get somewhere. Yes? Who was saying that? Oh, it's Sasuke. I See why you were called an Erasmus England returnee. What are you yelling about? You've already testified. It's a mini memo. I tell you, mini memo. Memo. Sosuke-san? What was that? Did you say memo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyo News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo. Boo! That name stinks! Now that he mentions it. Snapshots, scribble stories, and my scuppered my privacy. That same reporter be camera to the left and the notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Many Memo. You're saying this picture was taken by Many Memo. Yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Oh, yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency. And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. We'll solicit the assistance from the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood? Many memo! Ah, yes. Many memo. Causing headaches to this day with its bad name. And to be continued. We didn't sign up for part 2s on this channel. I will save. So, looks like we did get a little further. So we got to episode 2, it looks like, before we took hiatus. And I'm glad we're restarting. Oh my god, it's been more than 2, oh god, it's been over 2 years. And then we played a year later. Oh my. We really took our time. Because we did, oh my god, 2011, 24, 2021. And then 12, 23, 2022. Wow, it really has been 2 years since we played Grace Ace Attorney. It's insane. August 13th, 10:41 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Chamber, Antechamber 3. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray? You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was just scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. I hope to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, you remember what you said? You had no doubt in my mind about my innocence. I remember. Yeah, I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me. Drag me through the city streets. You good, girl? I'm no better, you know. Oh? Even though in my heart I knew you pulled the knife from his back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Yeah, I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you I'd stand by you, I'll always be on your side. You betrayed your faith in me, too. And such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no. I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father. The fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray, yes, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Suzatel. You know you'll always be gallant, dashing, lure in my eyes now. Alright. Back down the gallant and dashing. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well, now. You good, chat? Okay, and timers need to be fixed for some weird reason. We'll figure it out. No, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. You were the only people in the hut at the time, yeah. Before collapsing, it all happened right before my eyes, yeah. That's right, just Miss Brett and myself, there was no one else. I just don't understand how she got to be stabbed like that. I know. Yeah. I'll be alright. However it happened, it really went on by the sea that day. I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you've saw is true. Spoken like a true Mikatoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Yes. I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. Police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory that does this blend of alkaloids. Police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Yes. Without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin. Chemical reagent? A colleague of mine also some earlier delivered to police headquarters. Perhaps you should some as well, just in case. Chemical reagent has been added to. Yep. More evidence. It hopefully comes up. Newspaper article. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen. Yeah. Wondering how the information got out. What woman's doing. It's when the professor and Sosuke were being interviewed at the laboratory. Sosuke easily swanned in and without any function said to the Professor Toba, "Oh, Professor, surely your guests would love to hear about the work on the substance there." Put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. Sosuke-san's curiosity had been piqued, and I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So, Sosuke-san knew about the poison? Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin, too. It's Mini Momo-san! Or Memo. By the way, did the reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh. No, I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there. Oh? A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Sosuke-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took a very candid photograph. Presumably, he posted it anonymously to the police. Yes, that must be what happened. Alright, bailiff. Counsel! We just heard the news. Witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. Thank you, bailiff. Time to steel ourselves again. Defense attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo. Yes. It would have been nice for you to tell us our name before we went in. Ray's put her faith in me now and told me everything, so I can't let her down. I have to prove what she's been telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day. Because that's what lawyers do. They don't prove innocent, they prove who's guilty. 13th of August, 11:30 a.m. So it's been just about an hour. Yeah, courtroom 1. I hereby call this courtroom to order as we reconvene the trial of Rei Mamami. Prosecutor Aoshi, have you summoned the new witness? Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh? What news? Why does he look so happy about it? During the recess, the collaboration of the Professor of Television at Yuma University. Police re-examined the knife that was used to Miss Jezreel's Brett's life. Sense? Yeah. Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I'm amused with carrying out your instructions, of course. I had the reagent delivered to the police headquarters by the rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. By judging the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable. Counsel, what were the results? Dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of Spectre, has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade. Yep. Sure about that. I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the reagent, the team's sure simple. Couldn't have made a mistake. No poison on the blade. Short, the accused people's excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. I don't think it's been utterly destroyed, but we do have like the reasoning for why she pulled the blade out. I don't think she's gonna regardless of what she does. Call my new witness. Yep. Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture photographs at the crucial moment. Good. Very well. Officer, bring in the witness! No trace of poison on the knife. But if that's really the case, why would it be constricted? Yeah, how did it enter the body? Now we got a question. We know how it died, but we do not know how it entered the body. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Right in Mini Memo, the Shoujo News. I'm what people like to call a journo. What's a journo? Caller, do you know? Simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there where the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so that print in the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news. Oh, so you're you who took this photograph, was it? Well, have we have here? I'm sorry? Oh, brace yourselves, people. A mini member sent us a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it up above the fold at the 72.5 leg format of the morning edition. Huh? Right then. Let's start with your name. Ryotaro Naruhodo. Thanks. Made you want to become a lawyer? From our country's legal system, I suppose. Wait a second, aren't we supposed to be the ones asking the questions? Last I checked, we were the questioning people, not you. Ryotaro suddenly becomes very ambitious, I see. For a while. My name is Takechi Auchi. That's Taketsuchi Auchi. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear to every defense lawyer's heart. No, the readers won't buy that. Witness? Yes? What is the court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for taking this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah? I wouldn't be a journo if I didn't click quick when they're presented with a scoop like that, now would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. I have fast with legs to run and fast to hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my many memoism. Many memoism? Ah, yes. I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself, Sosuke-san. Yes, right. That was me, Penny Memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoujo news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words have piqued my journalist's interest. Miss Brett's words? A criminal left to do as she pleases, just because she happens to be a British citizen. It's horse dung! This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. Do you not know where you're standing, bud? He could put you in contempt. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Stay your tongue, young man. This complex is political issues at play. Anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? It's all here. Right, here goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going on some junket? The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story so I could hammer her in the press. You mean you say that you indeed witnessed it firsthand? Crime scene portrayed in this photograph? Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journo eyes. From start to finish. Through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony for the court. Please, you will state exactly what it is you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. Oh boy. The camera never lies. Beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there was plenty of gaps so I could see inside though. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Yup. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor. She stabbed in the back. Smuldering journal moving as quick as a flash. I went my camera ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. Okay. 8 screens, you say? Right. You can see clearly the great shot that snapped. Yep. Our hot walls are just screens made of coarsely woven reeds. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief to the summer heat. And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing. Ignoring for the time being my appalling invasion of privacy involved. You witnessed everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh yes, I saw it. The whole thing from start to finish. You see, you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens. Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? That was the gamble of a lifetime. Tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's a many-memoism in a nutshell. At last, it would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict. No. Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful. Okay, Mr. Kiss-Ass. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied. That is testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, a startling photograph. All the markings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published? That's right. Seems clear to me there are some circumstances at play here that yet to be understood. Huh, more pathetic excuses. Very well then, Counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He could be the murderer. He could be a Ford F-150. He keeps something about his case very close to his chest. Wait. Pull that pen up. Wait. RM. This is his pen. Why would she have his pen? We're connecting dots too early, and we're gonna get ahead of ourselves and get another strike. The beach hut was made of some shoddy rod screens. Yep. Englishwoman was sitting on a stool. Yep. Not arguing with that. If she was in front of him.
Hold it!
Yeah, if she was in front of her, how did she stab her in the back? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out from start to finish. Here's a simple plan of each shot. Thank you. Perhaps you can explain exactly what you witnessed. Right, you are. It's all here in my mini memo pad. God, he's getting annoying with all these memos. First, peered into the hut. I'm sure that the English woman, yeah, was on this stool at the back of the hut here. Yes, the accused testimony confirmed it. Yep. She sat in the back, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted. My turn to testify now. To try not to interrupt. Ugh. Then, the next moment, as I was watching, the evil son entered the hut. Yeah. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. How? How did she get behind the usual fish dip? The girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, she plunged a knife in her adversary's back as the two passed together. She suddenly fell from her chair, so she never left the wall. That was a grim crime indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what many memoism says. Hey, that's what I've been looking for. Oh yeah, we didn't examine this. Oh yes, this must be the victim's blood. Oh dear, blood's never a pretty sight, is it? I'm having to fight the urge to run it under a hot tap and get it clean. You've always been fastidious about cleanliness, haven't you? I think it's something else, Father. Is there anything else to this knife? No. We also have reagent. German. So your knowledge of English is going to be a little help here, I'm afraid. You've just written medicine on it in Japanese. German is the international language of medicine, my dear. Yes, I couldn't see the merit in labeling a bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate. There's nothing here. The beach hut plans. So she was sitting here. Whilst you were watching the terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap on the screen, you didn't have to create to prevent the tragedy. Rather than capture it on film. That sounds like society. Journalists have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's the raison d'etre. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in. And that's something to be proud of, is it? Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor? I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. What are you? Glad the defense is proposed. Minimus, will you, limit your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement? Well, nihilism is the foundation of many memoism. I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless. Snap. Everyone step foot now. Your pen, sir.
Objection!
I beg to differ. Many members have, until now, I've had a firm belief that the newspapers are the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem to show your news on my arm. In a way, that's more many memoism. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth. What? What are you suggesting those are recriminatory words, Counsel? Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? Oh! This pen was found at the seat of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M. Ah yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Membami. Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also R.M.? No. Write-in mini memo. R.M. That's horse dung. Can't you see? I'm one of those central tenets of many memoism. is being a pencil user. And yet, the court will clearly be able to see on your right hand, there's a very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you have rather carelessly left it somewhere. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey, horse dung! Many-Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Jeziel Brett in that beach hut?
Attention!
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly. Show you news will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be many people with initials RM as the stars in the night sky. The defense has neither time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undoubtedly proves who the owner really is. In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the courtroom where this alleged clue lies. Of course, Your Excellency. True owner identity is the seal. As well as the initials, there's also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize, Many-Memo-san. Goodness me, it's the emblem of Shoujo News! Newsflash! In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoujo News whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem no numerous, do they? Well, Many-Memo-san, how do you respond? No! God, I wish I had the sound effect for that. I'd totally do it. Order! Order! With a side of fries. Explain yourself, witness. So this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics. Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded. I, Shoujo News reporter, on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. Doesn't that, like, completely, like, overwrite one of your testimony lines? An interview? You never mentioned this before. When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. I couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as we as Many-Memoists say, people don't pay their dues from unworthy news. I like the rhyme. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will now testify under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it. Yes, alright, but on one condition. Condition? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Sosuke Natsume-san. Why? Why do we need Sosuke back? Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. Embrace yourselves. It's not a harmless one. It's big. What? I'm so confused with this man. Many-Memo-san states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Dude, you're a pushover. Officer, summon the witness back to the stand. Sosuke-san hiding something. Shocker. Witness testimony. Witness's secrets. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from the outside, I saw the woman being stabbed when the other witnesses came running. The detective realized the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. He didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why many memos and demands I reveal it now. Sure, man. Sure. Sure. I don't know where you're going with this, bud. I have no idea. The victim regained consciousness? When do you decide to ask her a question? That's, true, yes. He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. Now I feel like you're just making stuff up. That's preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before? You yokel hack! It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English Rose a question. I won't deny it. But she can no longer speak. She was barely conscious, even. Counsel for the defense expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. This court must and will know the truth. Absolutely, Your Excellency. Court is claiming that Miss Brett implicated race somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut? The world may never know. The witness's secrets. Yeah.
Hold it!
I'm not pressed. Let's just see if I can get a reaction out of him. I don't know. You should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Redderman? Arrgh! Out with it, you yokel, you hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman? I'm really making him out to be Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog, aren't I? Well, in truth, I had been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then, all of a sudden, in that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries, "Help!" pierced the air. Ray. I ran up the beach to see what was happening to find the defendant leaning over a collapsed victim. As soon as the Inspector Hasanaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. Then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin! Well, what did you ask her, Sasuke-san? I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protract this any longer. How did she respond? She didn't. She didn't say anything in response. But... and in the stand, you will answer the question asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand you amend your testimony. I will! Applied. We need to press
Hold
this. Trying to find out who the culprit was. He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. Having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever. However, you indicated the victim failed to respond. Is that correct? I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stoop and my mustache, because I'm Japanese. Oh dear. So Sasuke-san really has developed a dislike for the English, it seems. Read the report in this time. I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. The Englishwoman didn't ignore you at all, did she, Mr. Riderman? Huh? Well, yes, alright. She did. Wait, what? She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Hold it!
What? Pointing a finger at the defendant? Sure. It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled out on the floor before us with the student girl standing on the far side of her. When I asked her who did this to you, The English woman summoned her last ounce of strength to point at the trembling finger at the back of the hut, which was denied in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today. That's a lie. Zosuke-san, why on earth would you like to mention this in your original testimony? Fiddlesticks, I say! It's not British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course, the Englishman did point her finger toward the back of the heart. But I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. Thinking about it, I feel through... Perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly. The very different direction where the was standing. To the back of the hut, where nobody was standing at all! Of the events in direction in which the victim was pointing. Yes, that's unclear. Very, very
Objection!
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm barely conscious, but slightly. There can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? As the court can see, there was no other than the accused in direction. That's a lie. You had the cameraman. No, you're all frauds. Headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers hopes this dash 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. Yep. We have no choice. We must prove it. Like every trial in Japan, apparently. Standing back, not listening to saying yeah. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet and fell. Yep. Yes, so... How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in the beach? Oh, we have an answer. It's called the picture. I know how.
Objection!
Yeah, you're worried. Because we figured you out. Your Excellency, I respectfully ask to postpone your adjudication for the time being. To what end, counsel? The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative that can explain who the victim really was trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
None exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime. What? And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was around those around her at the time by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction. Fantasy! Very well. Like here?
Take that!
On the outside from the back. The true culprit was located in this location. Are you mad, counsel? You said she was outside the hut? Yes! What? We're not mad, we're lawyers! There's a difference. Order, order, and a triple order of fries. Student lawyer Naruhodo-san Esquire. That makes no sense at all. You've just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. I don't see any suspicion. I didn't see any suspicion of loitering, but I can't swear to that. Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut, there's no way he or she could have stabbed the victim as inside the hut. That's a lie. Actually, Prosecutor Ouchie, there is a way. And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence. Yuriyoko! The defense assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, counsel. It's either the pictures.
Take
I'm gonna
that!
give this one. Oh, presented it now. In the first idiot, I just... that this piece of evidence bears serious areas. Yes? How are you... His downfall. That's the other photo, which I think is stupid. Visible trick. Yeah, the picture! I can't believe that image does not count for what we need.
Take that!
The original photographic, yes. See, visible in this print, the trace of the fatal thrust delivered from the outside of this beach hut.
Objection!
Do you take as thrillers? No hit to such anything. Someone at least appears to have noticed what is I'm referring to. Counsel, once again, I must call on you to be illicit to the court. Where in this photograph is a trace of stabbing, which you claimed it took place from the outside of the hut? No, right there. The big slit in the back. In the screen in the back, there's a... You can see the effect of a blade having been forced through the reeds. No, it can't. I can't see such a thing. It's true that hut question had 4 walls, so you'd expect, however, by parting the reeds, the knife could have easily penetrated them. This is extraordinary. How could you not have thought of that, Judge? Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. And everyone present at the scene, there is only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Righted many Memo-san! It could only have been you. Ah, yes. Death is knocking on the door for you, say. No!
Objection!
Oh, keep your whiny hair in a bunch. Prosperous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. Victimized the center of the beach hut, does she not? You assume that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection!
No, of course not. Or not? Called the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as she knew she was untouchable. A stool? And we haven't had a look at the photograph. The slit in the read screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word! So in fact the victim was killed while sitting on the stool by a stab wound to her back delivered right through the read screen. Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively, but then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut, before the defendant, Nimbami-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. So what are you gonna do by your silence, Mini-Memo-san? I take it that you don't deny the charge. This is absurd! That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court successfully established the truth of this matter, which means that the defendant, Mami-san, is innocent of this crime. Thank goodness. Finally made him cave. I must say, I've never been more proud. No, this can't be. The Ochikan can't. What of my growth? My growth of hope! It was all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't. I see no reason to continue into this trial. I will therefore move to conclude proceedings by delivering the final verdict. Do you mind? Well, this is very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals. But We've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut through the reed screen walls. And no one but you was in the place at the time to have this hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the English woman, does it? Well, seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant? Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed, doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. What are you talking about? Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because you dug up. What? Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison? Let's ask the professor for comment on the situation, shall we? Understand that deadly poison we're developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? It's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupil are sure signs that this particular poison was used. I see, I see. So, presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed? The poison's coming back to bite us! Given that her pupils are clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. She had already been dead, and the poison could not have circulated in her blood. You just got a saving grace, Ochi. That's refreshing to hear an argument of the metropolitan mind. Precisely. It matters not to judge who stabbed who's... Yeah. Backstabbing, boy. Business of the ignorance will take over that, but why the poison? Get me explain the poison by being on the blade.
Objection!
Tja, forgotten already. Have we, Yoko? During these very proceedings, the laboratory the professor was proving. The blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had not a trace of poison whatsoever. Well, let me get down. The facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turn out to be the headline marking red herring. Is that about right? There's gotta be another way she could get a cut and get the poison in her. Order! 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 Triple order of fries, but where does this leave us? How in that case did the poison enter the victim's body? Obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it. Drank it? I have another look at the photograph here. As you can see, bottle of carbonated water and glass have been knocked into the sandy corner of the beach hut. Poison could have slipped into either. Somebody made Miss Brett drink it. I doubt that. Oh, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Hold it!
Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's still hard to believe, given that you're the person who established it. Was you? Me? What on earth is me? Oh, let's capture this wide eyes. This prime press fodder this is. It would seem that the trial is not destined to end yet after all. I hereby call on the witness to get further testimony. It's great, that is. Let's get a shot at that magnificent beard, Your Excellency. Claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for missing poison. Yeah, I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. Yet you're trying to hide from the murder. Because many minimalism. Yeah. For a brief I thought alien trip had slipped right back to obscurity again. Where is this trial going to take us? On a wild ride. Witness testimony. Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and that's the very fact that I'm proving. I mean, I'm innocent. That's why I didn't bother to stab the woman if it already poisoned her. When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it was my goat. If those courts were going to punish Brett for what she had did, someone else would have to see justice done. So you're admitting to murder. Yeah. Yeah. I can't blame this miserable country of ours. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of future and kind of country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slam, bang in the middle of that charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in her. So you admit to stabbing her. Someone who spends his life seeing the truth is told. I feel really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. You're impliciting Ray again. She's the one who gave the poison to the English woman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap, this journal here is off the hook. The argument is sound, certainly. If the witness had administered the poison himself, he would only need waited for it to take effect. Certainly stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical. Therefore, the reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. It's quite illogical. I wouldn't say nothing, Ouchie. He's stabbed them while they're still alive. That's like at least attempted murder, if not first degree. Justice at last. This is unbelievable. After I made so much pressure proving his guilt, he's going to get away with it now? Yes, much needed. Think Cosmo-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking away forward until the judge's final gavel. Very well then, counsel. We will begin with cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman. That's a very effective performance. I wouldn't say that. Here to see your announcement. Got my go. This feels very weird.
Hold it!
What exactly are they arguing about? Well, things that happened 9 months ago, that's what. The girl was laying into the Englishwoman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson. Yes, Dr. John H. Wilson, Professor of Medicine. That goes against what the victim said, or the defendant said. Just cheered. Her case was heard by the British Consular Court in Shanghai, however. There is little doubt she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. Was it eating the thought? It was eating the student girl up inside, as you can see. It really felt for her. This is Ray, isn't it? Yup. I got 3 people on the bench. And listen to this tripe. Hey, girl, you stand accused here. You can't just put it whenever you feel like it. No, you can't. Sorry. I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. This awful man is making all this up. Who's this Susato? In the middle of
Hold it!
Thank you. Your Excellency, please, I implore you. This journalist is not clear and not a trustworthy witness. Filthy, rotten background bigot. A great peeping Tom! Whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks. I'll grant the request of the defense. Thank you. But Your Excellency, it's likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak. Thank you. I mean, get her in. Nothing did after discussing the stolen poison. Yes. We have to press this.
Hold it!
No, yes, suspected her the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson. It's true. Additionally, Mr. Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. Surely, it would be no easy task to see a highly secret toxin being developed in the government. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen, myself or a colleague getting the poison enough to be very difficult. That's true. I have pestered Professor Gutobin until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. It rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we've been developing, see? Since Sosuke science put such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away other than the fact that it was extremely potent substance. I am very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. Find out my suspicious fury, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. Though that the incident involving somehow would be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government even. It would be a complete disaster. Found about the concerns. She just curled those beautiful lips at her and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually. Yes, Minimum-san. One small question, if you don't mind. I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy? Clearly, you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably, then, it was you who wrote the article about what you heard. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published this morning's edition of the Shoujo News. The details are too accurate for to have been written by anyone else. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, look at this. The entire article is almost what I said to Miss Brett, word for word. Uh-oh! Well, Minimomo-san. As a journo and a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's the founding principle of Many-Memoism. What's not a founding source of Many-Memoism? Father's totally right about this. The reporter did write that article. He based it on whatever he overheard outside the hut. Yeah, that's been updated. You're trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with a stinking story about me arguing with her. Shut up! My stories never stink! Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want it to go on record. About time. You may amend your formal testimony. You good there, bud? Point is, if you poison someone, there'd be no reason to go and stab the person as well. It must be this statement. Is there a statement we're missing? Yeah, it is that statement. Okay.
Hold it!
We haven't seen this one. Although, it might surprise you to learn that I'm a bit of a picture's pepper pourer as it happens. The poison she would have only minutes away from death. Yeah, this man proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There has to be a good reason for that. Because the reporter clearly gave the poison to Miss Brett, then clearly he must have done it prior to Ray entering the hut. Yes, but that's undeniable. Between him leaving the hut and the victim being stabbed, there was one very crucial change to the situation. The pen! Yes. That's when Minimomo-san found the exact nature of the poison he used. It'd be key here. Yep. What was that? There's no question the man was responsible for Miss Brett's murder. If we could take a plausible extension why he might stab her after the poisoning. To get the poison, I guess? Can I examine the pen some more? Yeah. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? Hey, look. Must be a little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, but drying go through the nib. You're on, Father? So there doesn't appear to be any ink in it at all. That's quite right, especially. Yay! These are clearly engraved here. That was linked to pen diamonds, clear message. Trying to get it up. Alright.
Objection!
No, that's not it. Please stop the music. I'm guessing... So we know that the pen would have held the poison. What's been updated lately? Doesn't gain us any knowledge here. What's been... So these two are the most recent updated. He did it! I have no evidence, but I know it was him! Yes, Arctic. We already know it was him. Problem is pointing the finger at him. I knew it! He's basically... He threw us for a loop. He said, why would I murder her if she was already poisoned? There's no reason for me to stab her if she was already poisoned. Let's just revisit our evidence. Already looked at this. I'm the greatest detective ever. Yeah. Now it's Mr. Great Detective. Prove that he's the murderer then. You're such a great detective, Arctic. I want to read her statement. Discussing the stolen poison. The only thing I can think of would be the poison article.
Objection!
Well, I can think of one reason. What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut? Of course you did. There could be no question on that. After all, when we were in the laboratory together, we were told it was a terrible toxin. And there's one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Mimbami-san's verbal attack against the victim all began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to slip the poison to Miss Brett's drink.
Objection!
Where are you going with this, counsel? Maninteh's had it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it. Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison once the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Mimbami-san entered the hut. Yes, accurately put. When I walked in the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Maninteh overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? Which should be included in this paper, namely, poison developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained. Absolutely. In fact, it's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could have came from is my lab. And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs of death. The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but none among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had ended by the use of this particular poison. Which is what would reduce the number of suspects only to a handful of people. Oh! Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it in some nefarious deed. Mbani-san being no exception. Therefore, we can conclude whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. Uh-oh. You're not doing so hot there, Aochi. In other words, someone like you, Mr. Right and Many Memo. Yeah. I'm all over the place with these voices tonight, but I'm totally okay with it. It's funny. This is an important message. I'll let it load. It was you who stole the poison in the laboratory that day. And it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. You quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. God, the good music. As you listen from the far side of the beach's hut, well, as you learn of these facts, but you've already given the victim that poison. At that point, it was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the reed screen. Get your annoyingness out of here. But what good possibly could that do? Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Rhett before the poison could take effect. Once in the blood, the poison causes onset of pupil constriction. But he had the hope to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he? Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would ever have suspected. This is extraordinary. Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use. Which he attempted to do so by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back. Dude. Triple order of fries, please. The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied and what warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter argument which is put forward? Well, there are a number of, yes. I counter completely!
Objection!
That seems pretty half-assed to me. The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows, and in much the same way he nurtures the remnants of his top knot, he's clinging to his last hope. Lost hope? Who's making us hold it? Probably Mr. Many Memo. Ooh, off comes the hat, since we have no gloves. You pathetic, useless, fallen samurai! Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? My burgeoning growth is on the rise. I don't need a counter argument. What are you talking about? Should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. Gave it to the victim, you say. Stabbed her, you say. Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing! For I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean, what Professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here in my many memos. Every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. What's what Shoujo News is famous for? The power of the printed word. Surely it would be no easy task to steal highly secret toxin being developed by the government. Yeah. Searched when they leave. I mean, how's that then? Blowing the story wide open? See, I write in Many Memo, a mere reporter of the Shoujo News. Couldn't possibly have stolen that poison. From the professor's laboratory. Ah, we're back to square one. So close, yet he weasels his way out of our needy little hands. Ah, he stole it and used it to kill. If that's the case, As you identified, the poison source has been evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day, the true culprit here. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? My point is this. There's one way that you, ManintehHat, could have stolen the poison that day. I have heard enough verbal conjecture now, thank you. Evidence! The pen.
Take that!
Proof, Your Excellency. Is this fountain pen? A fountain pen? How can that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousand of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now. I swear, a weasel hair calligraphy breath and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad. Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, I obviously love my fountain pen. Stuck into a pond of sumptuous ink. One's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye. That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, in which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later. What is this all talking about sucking up ink halfway? Ah! And just as it's possible to suck up ink to a reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. My word! Can this really be? Well, ManintehHat-san. When you saw the deadly poison before your eye. Sorry, I got distracted to look up the game's banned in Australia. Did we figure out who done it? Oh, we know who's done it. We just can't prove it yet. We know it's ManintehHat. You used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning out the poison through the nib and into the pen's reservoir. Ah!
Objection!
Judge, look him! He's sweating! More absurdity. It never happened. True. We've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? No. I'm a little ashamed to say. For that fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that the pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by ManintehHat-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? Are you suggesting a natural conclusion in your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment? You dropped the pen you emptied the poison from into her glass.
Objection!
There be any number of alternate explanations. For example, the witness could have been using the pen to write down the details of the conversation with the victim. And when shocked by the interruptions, the pen fell from his quivering hand. No, that can't be. If it was, how would you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? Right? As you can see for yourself when you examine the evidence, there was no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper is going to interview someone with nothing in its pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison filled its reservoir and had been emptied into the victim's glass. Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink of my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Woo. Judge, he's assaulting us! You claim I sucked up the poison into my pen. That's a wild speculation, nothing more. But you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that? Think I can! It looks like it's going to take one final slice of blood to finish this matter. As I can see, the solution is very simple. Rests upon whether or not to not steal the poison the day of question. Or, all depends on whether or not the defense can prove the evidence, yeah.
Objection!
We've got evidence. We literally have the testing serum. Courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this point, I assure you. Very well then, call on the evidence. Prove, and this means that I, as the witness pen, used to steal the poison. The reagent! Council, what is this bottle? This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question. Oh! Yes, that poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I, and it would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method. Or, from another perspective, simply this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. A reagent? What? One drop of the contents of this bottle and the tip of your fountain pen, Mini Memo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. No, you can't. I won't. Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once. You good there, Mini Memo? Not the camera! Don't! This isn't my fault. The Empire drove me to this. I'm trying to hold high head as a civilization bowing. Oh god, I can't keep up. He's jabbering so fast I can't keep up. With me. Uh-oh. I'm here. The Susato takedown! Did I do it right? The Susato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. The people are going insane is always great. I love it. It was a Ryotaro takedown. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. You good there, bud? When I saw it there in the lab, the poison that specifically dropped for Kusho, that poison, just the devil got a hold of me, and it said to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? To your fountain pen. Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Mini Memo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all, too juicy for a journal like me to pass up. And why did the English woman end up dead? Went into the hut intending to quiz her on her situation, that's all, as a reporter. A known killer enjoying her full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face. Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism? Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian. What did you call me? This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, really very depressing. You see, our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back to the cave you came from. Yeah, he got called the pleb. That's when I remembered about the deadly poison. The poison? The poison specifically to kill Cusco? That poison? I happened to have my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should have just got out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she had done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. Yeah, Brett was kind of a psycho. Because, she killed the court record. She killed Dr. Wilson. Wilson! So it was my journal spirit getting all fired up. Ouch, she's sweating bullets. I'd like to ask you something. Yes, you often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought. There's no justice in the press. After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was. Cover-up? What do you mean? I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on. Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should have never come into it. And yet, that puffed up Englishwoman is going to sail all the way back into the sunset of free women. The only possible explanation that behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. Sort of deal. I've done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. Came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Mini-Memo-san, that you committed murder yourself, and then you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Jeziel Barrett. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose. It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryotaro Naruhodo. Yes, sorry, Your Excellency. Most unbelievable that this is your first experience at the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. Truth very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Yes. Okay, the way he handled the trial 9 months ago and the way you handled this one gives me hope that we are generally entering a new era of justice in this land. That's very flattering, Your Excellency. Hearing the defense you pour today made me feel most keenly. The future of justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries. Thank you. So, Professor Oshi, do you have any final thoughts? No! Not his seed of hope! Prosecutor Ayuchi? I, Takuchi of the Ayuchi clan, have been bested by a Kalo youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered away and died here today. Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence! Rather than living on in shame, I will end it all now with this blade. That is for the peace to Ouchiism. Ouchiism? One hopes that the only one way he'll be modeling himself to the witness. Sprig my top knot. The time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Takeuchi. His top knot. There it goes. Into the wind. With all his shreds of hope. What's next? His sideburns? Or what I would call a knockoff sideburn, at least? Just go fully bald. Be like your descendants that will come in the games that have already came out. Now, in regard to the defendant, Rei Membami-san. Yes, Your Excellency. I have reached my final verdict. I have hereby find you not guilty. Yay! This is where we would put the Poyos, but we don't have them ready right now. Court is adjourned. 13th August. So that was all like 3 hours. Court of Judicial Defendants, Antechamber 3. It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing. Lawyers have such great responsibility, such great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san? Suzuto! Suzuto! Thank you. Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Ray, Father. Honestly, I'm touched by everything you've... Oh, no. I think I'm going to cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end, too. And the only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh, no. I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth, and you did wonderfully. Ray. I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you. Don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, and the trial's over, so no more of this formal super humility nonsense. Nonsense. Dip-a-dip-a-da. Time to celebrate with swagger. Throw caution to the wind. Caution to the... What? In the great defense of Return Naruhodo, I am taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something. Right, I see. Think about it, right? At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man. It felt so good. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was there. Nobody else could throw together. It was. Isn't there anyone else we could throw together? I hope you're not looking at me, Ray. Oh my goodness. No, of course not. Of course not. Ah, there it is at last. Ray's lovely smile. Fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo. Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryotaro, I think. She'll miss him in a way, but it's back to Susanoo Mikotoba for now. So I'll never see him again then? What a terrible shame. Hi, Sosuke. What is happening? Sosuke-san and Inspector Hasanaga, I do hope you've been keeping well. Is that really you? Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope. But it's me. Susanoo Mikotoba. I don't! So dashing, so divine. No. Doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you two. I had no idea Mr. San Esquires. You were the locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly astounding ace attorney! He said the thing! He said the thing! Poor Sosuke-san, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Sosuke-san was free to return to Japan. Now it seems he earned some great fame as an author. I'm stunned. It's truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea, and I'm the chief inspector at the police bureau, who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less. I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. Just two, really. And this was a nice once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector. Well, I am a professional, of course. I do worry about Inspector Hasanaga at times. I really do. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. Yeah, and then on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep you safe on the journey. Though that didn't help you, did it, Kazuma-sama? And from my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that the Englishman committed at the end of the last year. Ah yes, it was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, the man I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? Now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. Not unless she was like involved with the mob or something. On the voyage to Great Mystery, we had a most unexpected encounter with Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective I mean. Ah yes, Herlock Sholmes. Ah yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course. My arch nemesis, how lightly you utter his name. Well, according to the stories published about him in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been a friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. If that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again. Poor Iris. As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born. Yes, grandmother told me about it. On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yume University. But I also serve another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs. Yes, I was aware of that as well. In that case, I'm sure you understand there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you. Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? It's been 2 months now since I've returned. When I left England, it was because of an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said you've collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know, because after all that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. There was something great that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way or harm me? It's really the only explanation I can think of. I know. It is time to think. Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glass for your father, Susato? I'm sorry, my dear, I simply can't. Let me go! What do you want, Mr. Many Memo? Me? Many Memo-san? So, one throw wasn't enough for you? Got one last thing to say before they take me away, Professor. Me? I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on in that visiting student's fate. Visiting student? Jizzy Albert. Moon! Hi, Moon. This is very poor timing. It is, in fact, a moon raid. Hi, Hat. Yeah. Hi, guys. We are playing some great Ace Attorney, and we are just finishing up episode 1 right now. I hope you were having fun, Moon. I didn't fully catch what you were playing, but I did see you were live. Objective. Yeah, I know. You missed all the objectives there are. Good, I can go to bed. Good night, son. Yeah, good night, Melar. We're actually in like the very epilogue of the first episode, about to go to the to be continued scene. Dude, we practically 100% know. Ooh, a randomizer? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, so I do thank you for bringing everybody over here, Moon. So we're gonna wrap this up real quick, and we will. I was actually gonna send us over to you, so I gotta figure out a new plan. There's like 5 checks left. We were looking for Din's Fire to finish bingo. So did you like finish the whole bingo board? Student of law, he must mean Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? Why does that have to do with Kazuma-sama? You did? Oh my, that is awesome, Moon. And we beat Ganon to finish it. That's amazing. So, yeah, we've just been playing in full screen just because I love this game's art. So I just, gotta get the full screen to admire it. Little over 4 hours. That's not terrible. We've been going for 3. I'm actually, pulling overtime right now, as I like to call it, because we were supposed to stop 11 minutes ago, That's how close we are to finishing up the game. Or not game, the episode. They don't know the guy that never made it to England, that he died on the steamship. Never. Ah! Oh, a judge takedown. Didn't expect to find him in here. What were you officers playing at? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Legion, and it's a good job I came by. And thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly. Oh, Your Excellency? Oh, ha ha ha. The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. You're either your father's friend, Shoshiro Jikoku. No, but wait, he knows something? Yes, he knows something, and we're not gonna find out! May I ask, since you saw us, you seem to have taken a more dashing appearance, Susato. Did you know all along from the start of the trial? Damn you, Judge. A judge sees everything, Susato. I couldn't let you take the risk, so Sessho here hadn't known and then he'd recognize you, so I had word in his ear beforehand, and as an old friend. So, Shoshiro, shall we? Yes. Having ruled on that case, we can now have various diplomatic issues to address. Before you go, Father. Sorry, my dear. We'll have to return our earlier conversation to a later date. No! We'll never find out. Well done again, both of you. You did admirably. Oh. Thank you very much. You did... What did you think of my Seishiro sling, eh? It's been a while since I seen a man flying like that. Oh, ha, ha, ha. I'm gonna put us back in full screen just for a little bit. Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Jeziel Brett, about Dr. Wilson, and now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuha-san. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime, but nobody else is around. Sosuke. Judicial Assistant Mikotoba assigned Esquires. Could I have a word? Oh, yes, of course, Sosuke-san. What is it? I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you. Oh? I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England. This I have to hear. Please, Sosuke-san, tell me at once. I will. Damn you, Judge. As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness, the local student Naruhodo-san Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on the ship back there. Did I miss the first? Yes, you did, Hawk. We're literally wrapping up the first case as you speak. I can't wait to get on a ship back here from my homeland. And arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experience with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all about certain things about my report. First caused more questions. Yeah, exactly, though. Also, Hawk, I am just now realizing we haven't played this game in over 2 years. And it's gonna come up here once we save. It seemed especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. It was that very next day he sent the telegram asking you to return to Japan. What was it then? The particular part of my father was interested in. I don't really know exactly. But do you remember them? Those 2 terrible cases I was caught up in? Of course, I could never forget. Your father seemed concerned himself mainly with the second case. I'm gonna be rusty as hell. Yeah, I know. Second, you mean the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to talk about in the public? Which is why the only case involving you that a member of the public is aware of is the first. I don't care. Don't have to listen to what this detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that the case somehow holds the key to all these curious unanswered questions. The horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings. That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought that the whole business was over, but it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told. And with that, We reach our cutscene.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san.
This cutscene's so beautiful.
But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Oh. Alright, Susato. And with that, we come to the end of Chapter 1 of Game 2. And even though there's a cat in the way. Yay! So, I'm gonna put us back over to Invert real quick. Actually, this is the wrong view, but it's fine. I actually have to flip it. Yeah, it'll break the camera, but I don't care. So, here in slot 1 is today's save. Here's slot 2 when we finish chapter 1. 11/24/2021. Don't even care, sad times. What do you mean I don't care? I don't care about my camera? It's gonna be brokey. It's been a hot minute, and then it looks like we played a bit a year later. Oh yeah, they care. Yeah. But if you notice, we played GAA 1 back in August of 2021. It's been a hot minute. I hope there's nothing like too relevant coming up. So, with that, I'm not gonna push the button right away. I'm gonna take a look real quick. Is there anybody live right now? Kimba, Wolfie, those are all big people. And Schnee, Maddie, and Hunter. Let me see what Wolfie and Hunter are up to. It looks like Hunter's playing Cult of the Lamb, and Wolfie's playing Nekesi. As much as I would love to keep the raid train going, this is the one I need to play with you either on or off screen. I mean, Hawk, if you ever want to like just hang out and chat while you play it, I will gladly hang out with you and play it. Do we have like anybody streaming Great Ace Attorneys right now? You guys just send it over. I just want to keep the train going. Looks like they're on the finale of part 2, so we definitely don't want to go raid them. Oh, they're playing game 1. Oh, all right. I know what we're doing. We're going to go raid. I saw Saphira live with Cult of the Lamb. I do love me some Cult of the Lamb. Oh, Saphira Fox. I know who you're talking about. You know what? Let's keep it in the community, Moon. I'm going to go send it over to the Saphira. Because I do love me some Chaos, and I do love me some Cult of the Lamb. So, in that case, where'd I go ahead and push the button?
Thank you for pressing the self-destruct button. This ship will self-destruct in 3 minutes.
Yes, in fact, the stream will self-destruct in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes. There it goes. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and send it over to Saphira Fox just to kind of keep it in the community. I am still trying to figure out what we're doing Saturday. All I know is I want to do something fun, albeit be orange juice or Jackbox, depending on how many people we can snab. This will be my 4th raid tonight. I'm sorry, but it is a raid ship that must sail, my friend. Yeah, you've been sitting on a lot. Yeah. 3 people raid me hat. Wow, Moon. Nice of you. Everybody loves you, Moon. That's why everybody keeps coming to you. I really want to play some Jackbox, so I probably am going to hit up the server. Both of them with Arctic and Sitting Iron in on. Yep. I'm probably going to go ahead and say it might end up being Jackbox Saturday, but it's going to be kind of really wide open. All I know is I want to play something fun, and we'll see what it is. It may even just be me and a couple friends playing Pokemon. We'll see. I might hijack your community, Moon. We'll see. I keep threatening to do it. I probably will. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end it a little bit earlier than the self-destruct button, and I'm going to go ahead and send this on over to Saphira. I hope you all have a great day.